One could say Billy Taylor got a strong sense of just how harsh life can be at a very young age, watching his family's farm slowly slip away.
We worked as hard as we could as a family to keep it together, and ultimately we couldn't, with the interest rates through the roof, grain embargo with Russia.
Eventually, the bank foreclosed and held an auction to sell off most of his family's belongings.
A bit of a defining moment for me was standing up on the hill and watching the auction go on down below me, and one tractor, another tractor, watching those pieces be sold off bit by bit by bit, and then watching my dad go through that, wondering, you know, in his late 30s, how's he going to start over?
They were left unable to afford their home, and Billy and his father began converting their old barn into a livable space.
We worked all through the winter putting flooring down and ceilings and pulling out rotten wood and replacing rusted tin. But I watched my dad, I watched how he reacted to that. And, you know, it really was, what do you do when times get tough, you know?
Determined to not allow his own family to experience a similar situation, Billy attended college, earning an engineering degree. But upon graduation, couldn't find an engineering job or even steady employment outside of his field.
And, you know, I really started reflecting on who's in charge when I'm working for somebody else, and how at the mercy I am of so many things. And I decided from that point forward that if I failed going forward, it was going to be because of something I did.
Billy soon met a man named Heath Quick, who was in the mortgage industry and took a liking to the field. After much research and consideration, a fateful meeting around a kitchen table changed everything.
I was actually at Billy's kitchen table in December of, seems like it was 1999, as we laid out some of the initial plans for HomeTown Lender. So he, myself, and a friend of ours, Heath Quick, sat down and just talked about what we thought the right mortgage company, helping people, lending to people in our neighborhood and our communities would look like.
And I said, listen, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to open this business. And so him and I started it. We decided on a Friday at the kitchen table, and Monday we were open for business.
Early on, customers came from their church and their local friends and family, but word spread and they began to grow quickly.
But they were already growing so fast, they didn't have an office for me. So my first office was the lunch table, and I would have to wait until people went to lunch or went home, and then I would sit at their desk and use their phone. And very quickly became the top producer, and eventually decided I don't like driving to Hazel Green every day. Billy agreed to open an office in sort of the central area of Huntsville, and I was the first branch manager, and we were off to the races, our first branch.
HomeTown Lenders grew over the next several years, building on the reputation for being a fair and honest company.
We had good conservative but consistent growth from 99 through 2008. In 2008, the recession happened, fourth quarter of 2008, the spigot turned off, and we panicked just like everybody else. The good news is we didn't have any debt. We had gotten out of the subprime industry a couple of years earlier, so we didn't get hit with a bunch of loan buybacks, and we didn't have debt that a lot of our competitors did. So what wound up happening in 2009, we went through one of our largest growth phases in the history of the company.
Business began to boom, and HomeTown Lenders has been growing ever since with no signs of slowing down.
The company has accomplished far more after that time period than before. I mean, we've doubled twice in 18 months. We appear to be on a pace to double even again in 2020. We've got to be, if not the fastest growing mortgage company in the country, one of the fastest growing from a percentage standpoint.
That success has allowed Billy to find other ways to help families in need by starting his own charity.
Called Mission Firefly, and we adopt villages, and then we partner businesses or churches with villages. We ask them to commit to a 5-year period to address all of those spokes on that poverty wheel.
That once broken down barn is now a beautiful venue that hosts weddings and other events. Much like a young man named Billy who had to sleep there, both have transformed into something no one else ever expected.
We never lacked for confidence. At times, that could be our undoing, being overconfident. But my parents did a really good job of saying, no matter what happens to you in life, you can't control that action, but you can control how you react. And why not you? Somebody's going to do it. Why not you?